Have you heard the saying that money cannot buy happiness? It's so very true. And that it's better to cry in a Mercedes instead of alone, right? Well, I have a Mercedes and it's not fun. In fact, this is my second one. And I got my first one when I was like 19 years old. And I've cried so many times in that one, wondering what was so wrong with my life. And you know what I realized? This generational curses of feelings and things that have been passed down through generations of not being able to communicate feelings, be heard in the family. Literally almost everybody down my lineage is divorced. Not to mention my mom and me were both abused by my dad for a very long time until they finally divorced. When you reach this point in your life and you start to realize there's no connection within your material items, you can have all the shiny things. I got this a long time ago too. I put myself in a place, in a void where I have almost nothing, as I've discovered that connecting deeply within myself is so much more important than the material possessions that I'll ever have in my entire life. Me adding value to others and connecting to people in a deep and meaningful way is much more important than having a Ferrari or Mercedes, whatever. And the thing about these generations is, like, imagine it in cups, right? If you have one cup, which is like your great grandparents, you have your another cup, which is your mom and dad, and then you have you. Right. So, let's have a picture right here and pretend you're pouring this red goo into the cups, right? And then this cup has the red goo, your grandparents, you pour it into your parents' cup, it just gets passed down. And then here comes you, right? You finally reach that place where you're pouring this liquid into you and you're like, something doesn't feel right. You feel and experience feelings deeper than anybody else because life is different, right? We're not so much in a pure survival mode nowadays with so much technology that we have. And plus, with all the technology, we have access to mental health and videos like this that help us improve and self-develop ourselves further, right? It gets us questioning and wondering what is really going on here. What's the point of all this? So once it reaches you, you're with this thing, and then eventually what ends up happening is you decide, I don't like this. I've seen this go on for too long. It's time to put a stop. That's when you start reprogramming your mind. You start downloading and integrating new software. Like, remember the old iOS or OS systems, like Windows? You'd have to put in like 3 different freaking disks to upgrade them, or even floppy disks to like upgrade the processing, right? Or the operating system. That's kind of like you. Because if you have all this generational stuff passed down to you, and it's just the same operating software being passed down, it's time for you to upgrade, because now you're breaking free from this cultural, societal, hypnotic mechanism that's been put in place, that's been keeping you stuck. And once you start reprogramming your mind, you're able to actually start seeing more clearly. So what ends up happening is I grab like a clear picture, right? And here's you with the gooey stuff that's been passed down. Well, even if I start pouring this clear water, I have a microphone right here, but you can't see it on camera. I thought you can for a second, but like, even if I start pouring this clear water into your cup and it starts to overflow, right? If you ever have a dye in a color and you watch it just over time dissipate until it becomes clear water, that's what your journey is going to be like. And the most important thing to remember is that you're going to be carrying the burden of all of this, and it's your sacred responsibility, your ability to respond in a way which you prefer and not react. Because for a long time, when I was 18 and 19, I had a really good high-paying job. In fact, today, in one of my communities that I'm in, that I actually posted in there, and I had to express my needs, and I felt like I was going against the flow of stuff, except I felt strongly on something. And then through that, one of the comments I had added was, I've sold probably $1.5 million of personal training over my years of being in the fitness industry. And I've only worked there for like 4.5 years. Point is, though, it's like, I think that's being humble. That's at an average of like 30 to 50K per month, right? And I'm thinking like I probably sold way more than just 1.5 million. And I'm just choosing a number. Either way, I sold that much, right? I had to realize, like, holy crap, I've done a lot of work and I made some good money. And it was never enough to help me upgrade how I communicate with people. It didn't. And I was a manager, right? And I was 18 years old, put in a managing position based off my sales skills. And I didn't even know how to like teach my employees or manage them, right? Even my sales team underneath me, I couldn't teach them my process, while everybody else who's 30 and up in the same company, this is LA Fitness, and I also work for Crunch Fitness also. And anybody who's been older than me was also wondering what the heck I'm doing and why my numbers are the best in our district. In fact, for, I think it was like 10 or 12 days straight during December when the gyms are empty, right? This is the time when everybody's going on vacation. There's not very, we become a victim to the circumstances, right? Of the holiday events and the sales district. Your VP start like ramming you, like, why aren't you selling? It's like whole nation in the company, right? Out of 600 locations, 600 plus locations. That was number one in top sales and commissions. And I'm not saying this to brag or anything, right? My point is like, I was that age and put in a position of management where I didn't know how to manage people, but I was put there solely on my numbers and how to sell and communicate this one specific thing. And I struggled in my relationship life personally. And I was so depressed and sad because when I had this wonderful girlfriend at the time, we had issues. It wasn't a very healthy relationship. And I did not know how to mitigate and feel my feelings, not mitigate, more feel my feelings. I didn't know how to feel my feelings, how to express my emotions vulnerably and really stick to what I really wanted in the relationship, and also being okay if it didn't work out and letting go of the fear of the outcome. Like, hey, I'm going to set this boundary, or hey, I'm doing this and I'm okay with, breaking up. Like, we actually have to break up because we would break up and get back together. And it was because of my need for love, validation, appreciation, all the things I didn't get from my generational curses lineage from my parents, their great grandparents, and so forth, that was passed down, right? And then I realized, because after that relationship finally ended, not only did I become a people pleaser because I thought there was something wrong with me, because like finally I realized, like, hey, this time we're not getting together. Like, it's actually happening. I've wanted the breakup for a long time. And when I finally realized we're not getting back together, I had this huge worthiness wound. And I started becoming a people pleaser. I had such a hard time saying no because, women I just met, I would be saying yes to things that they wanted to do that, I would say no before, like pumpkin patches and things. I would just be like, yeah, let's go do that, to the expense of my own time and needs and everything else. And it's like, no, I don't want to be this nice guy. Yeah, I'm a kind guy now, except I had to experience that heartbreak in order to realize and choose to self-develop and choose to improve myself. And again, at a younger age, I had a lot of money that I didn't know what to do with. And crying in a Mercedes alone sucked. It absolutely sucked. And one time I was at a party. I remember this actually. I had met this girl on like Tinder. Well, we met up, we had to go with their friends, and like we went to party, and there was like another party we were heading out to. And then like on the way to the next one, like I was kind of stuck in my car, and then she like kind of pulled up to like check on me. And I just started crying. And I was just like, and she's like, what's wrong? She came to come comfort me and stuff. And like, I didn't even know what was wrong with me at that point. I just kind of like despair because I'm hanging out with all new people I've never met before. And it's like, I see like the friendships that they have. And it's like, I kind of feel like I missed out a lot on that. And from a younger age, when I was like 15 and 16, my mom wanted to get me into acting. So we left here and moved to LA, and I started doing acting there. And, like 3 months there and whatever amount back, and then go back for another time. And like, I left my high school. I didn't have any friends. I mean, yeah, I made new friends down there, really wonderful people. But like, I missed out on my high school life because I started doing online school, homeschooling. Like, I didn't really get to have real in-depth relationships. There's a little bit of vulnerability. And then also on top of that, like growing up, my dad would never really let me hang out with very many people. So, because I would be always grounded, and that sucked. So my point is, though, it's like, see, I had to experience all this lack of connection and sadness to finally decide, like, I have to be the one to break this. I tried talking to my mom a lot recently. I actually just called her today, and I was like, hey, I'm feeling like a little depressed. I'm just feeling like I'm maybe a little burnt out, a little cooked. And that's what I wanted to tell her. But as soon as I said depressed, she started like trying to give me solutions and stuff. And I'm just like, hey, mom, I just want you to listen. I just want you to hear me. Like, here you go again. You're not ever listening to me. And it's like, you don't want to. And I'm like, hey, but we realize this now, that it's okay. I gave it a shot. You're not actually here to hold this space for me. So it's like, it's okay. I love you, mom. Bye. I'm going to go. It made sense that she's not actually open to listening to me or hearing me and my feelings. So it's like, all right, well, I'll deal with them myself. I have a therapist and psychologist. I can see whenever. However, it's like, I've just been seeing them way less because I feel like I've been able to now deal with my emotions and like connections and realize a lot. Mainly with this portion, though, it's like back to the party thing. The woman I was on a date with decided to, come comfort me. And I started just bawling my eyes out. And I was like, man, I have money, but I have nothing else. Like, I have nothing else. And I'm in a toxic relationship where I just broke up with my girlfriend, and I'm going to expect her to probably call me in the next couple of days wanting to get back together. And it's like, it's this never ending repetitive cycle of toxic and like sadness. I just felt so alone, you know, like I was hurting so deeply inside while crying in my Mercedes. So the real value you can ever offer to people is the depth and connection of how willing you're able to vulnerably get and express yourself fully to people, and ask them in return that you want them to step in this vulnerable emotional sanctuary, and you want to hear their feelings. You want to make incremental adjustment to them and create a great relationship and a friendship. Because how you treat people is your greatest value. No matter where you are in your life, no matter how bad you have it, how you treat others is true value. That heart connection towards everybody else here who's just a reflection of you. This life is just your consciousness condensed, like your soul's condensing this and creating physical reality. I know we're getting a little esoteric here. And you're experiencing this human experience as you're meant to, right? So everybody here is a part of you on a greater aspect from all that is source, God, energy, creator. And when you're done, when you pass, essentially, you just wake back up to your full soul, right? And then you'll probably choose to experience another human life and condense and crystallize and come into this form to have this another human experience for your soul's growth. So it's this endless stuff, except part of this growth, I know as a soul is I now understand how to be more in depth and show up vulnerably and express myself without fear of the outcome. Just like this video. Ask yourself, would you really be able to show up and make a video like this and post it for the whole world to see and be okay with however the outcome turns out? You may get haters. You may get people that really resonate with you and you're able to shift and help them. Like, can you do that? Are you at that level of vulnerability? Because I can tell you, I was not. You can see any of my past videos. They get kind of vulnerable. Not to this flow-freeing way that I am now. Just keep in mind, all the money in the world is not going to help you with your connections. You choosing to be better and invite people into an emotional sanctuary with you and really investing your time and energy with people with quality time to grow and expand together out of love. Until you can't expand together any further. Maybe sometimes you got to set boundaries and sometimes the relationships don't work out. So I challenge you to start expressing your needs in life. If you're someone who is material in this world, like materialized, and really cares about, oh, money is so important, that shows your true value. Because I used to be like that. It's not. And money can only amplify your happiness. Because you can have all the stuff. You can be crying in a Mercedes and you will not be happy. That's why you're crying in a Mercedes. Because you're not happy. Because I wasn't happy. And it also took me letting go of my materialized view of life in order to come to this depth within my heart and my soul so I can share it. So I challenge you. Show up with love with the people that are around you that you care about. And I have tons of videos on setting boundaries and how to communicate with others. I highly recommend you start a self-development journey if you've already watched this far. And like and subscribe. It helps this channel grow. All right, so have an alchemizing day and namaste.